Hello, and welcome back to another episode of Downbelow Discussion. I'm Steve.
I'm Ian, and we're creating this cyberpunk diceless narrative RPG through one question every day.
Indeed.
Today I'm asking the question, and Steve, the question I want to ask you is, since this game focuses on the characters and not the big setting elements, we are only describing the big setting elements as background. And we might not describe every big setting element that a GM might need to describe the world for their characters. There might be corporations, gangsters, pieces of technology that they need in their games that we haven't described. So we need to give them tools to create those. How, as a GM, should someone go about creating a background element such as a piece of technology or a place or a corporation or a gangster or whatever that would be in keeping with the tone of the setting, that would be consistent with what we're creating?
Okay. Well, the first rule is what I've been working with, and what I think every DM should be working with, is the idea that narratively nothing exists without a reason. Mm-hmm. There's really only two reasons for anything to exist, and the first is that it furthers your story in some way. And the second is that it is NERPS. NERPS is an acronym, NERPS, which stands for Non-Essential Role-Playing Supplement. The big difference here is that NERPS are things that often fall prey to, if the DM described it, it must be important. So I'm advising, well, don't stay away from NERPS, but be careful using them. Let's talk about the first one. Everything exists for a reason. If you're thinking that you need a big corporation, or if you need a criminal that is not a specific character, or that you need even a specific character, what purpose narratively does that character serve? If you were writing a movie and you're putting this character in, and you're giving this character screen time, and this entity screen time, because let's face it, everything is a character, what purpose does this serve? Let's use a specific example that we've talked about before. Let's use universal transshipping. Mm-hmm. Universal transshipping serves a primary purpose of a second player in the local megacorporate scene, which provides tension with the primary player on a level above, literally above sometimes, what the player characters are interacting with. It provides room for corporate tension, it provides room for competing large shipments, it provides room for espionage and other skullduggery, which is a great word that people should use more. So on a primary level, it exists literally to provide tension. On a secondary level, the reason it exists, the reason that screen time should be given to it, is that it highlights problems with the major player on this island. It highlights things that it is doing well that Yggdrasil is not, and vice versa. And it serves to expand the world by showing that there's more out there. It's not gratuitous. There's a reason that we haven't mentioned major agricultural companies by name. There's a reason we haven't mentioned balkanized states by name, because while they're obviously important in the world to people who live there, narratively they're not very important to this little bottled drama we have on the island.
So, thing one, only make what you need.
Thing two, make certain it's not perfect.
Okay. No
matter what, you should make certain it's not perfect. You should always make certain that it is good enough to survive. Don't make something that's stupid. If you want stupidity, look no further than certain story elements in the Mass Effect video game series. I'm going to talk about the organization Cerberus for about less than a minute here. Cerberus is an example of making something too stupid to live. In the first game, there are a bunch of pro-human supremacists who prove their support and devotion to humanity by ruthlessly slaughtering single human settlements. In the second game, they are a bunch of pro-human political activists who are also terrorists who prove their devotion to humanity by murdering the main character and resurrecting the main character and then turning the main character loose with a weapon designed to kill them that they built out of the remnants of the weapon designed to kill them. Then proving that they are pro-human by becoming pro-Reaper so they can wipe out humanity in the third game. Cerberus is too stupid to exist. It serves its purpose as a plot device, but if you take even a half step back, you don't know what's going on. don't be Cerberus. Even though you're imperfect, even though your organizations, people, and companies should have flaws, you should be able to look at it and say, despite having this big glaring flaw, this company should exist. This organization works.
Even down to the level of a gangster or a piece of technology. So, I'd like to direct the final piece that you speak about in answer to this question. So, what is the biggest thing to avoid in terms of what would be going too far in some element that would make something that is added to this setting break the tone, so that GMs can watch themselves when they are adding on bits and bobs of technology and social engineering and so on?
If something would make the PC's lives universally easier with no drawback, that would break tone. If you're adding a piece of technology that... If you're giving a horror movie character a satellite phone that doesn't require line of sight, that breaks tone. If you do something similar in Downbelow, if you give them, I don't know, a car that never requires refueling, if you give them a government contact that always tells them the truth, if you give them a corporation that claims to be the good guys helping humanity and is in fact the good guys helping humanity, that is in fact a bountiful well of resources that will meet all their needs, supply all their guns, and pay all their bills so that all they have to worry about is being action hero awesome and uncovering conspiracy theories, that would break tone. Everything has to work against the player characters at some time. As long as it does that, you're down below.
So basically, you could even give them a teleporter, as long as that teleporter sometimes creates evil clones.
Evil clones might be a bit over the top for what we're talking about, but I think that's probably a question for another day.
Well, we'll call it there for now, and come back another day.